causes these threaded loops? Sewing machines work by joining the needle thread with the bobbin thread through a hooking system. The loop comes from extra needle thread that happens every time you start sewing. You don't want that loop messing up your beautiful quilt. Hi, I'm Karen with Quilts Are My Passion. Thanks for joining me today. I'm going to talk a little bit about enders and leaders, or leaders and enders, and why I think they're important enough that I teach about them in my beginning quilting classes and to my beginning quilting students. I have just a couple of scraps right now. One is under my needle and I have one here in my hand. The reason I use the enders and the leaders is because when you start with your leader and you have a top loading bobbin, quite often you get a little loop, like in this piece of fabric. That is your thread, and you don't want that loop to go in your quilt. You want it to go somewhere else. That's why I use these. And there's another way I will teach you how to avoid having that loop on your machine as well in just a minute. Your ender and your leader should always be 2 layers thick, like you're sewing 2 pieces of fabric together. And yes, my enders and leaders do look even messier than this. So let's get started, okay? I'll show you how I use it. I always chain piece because that speeds the process up. So today I have my leader under my needle. I have my machine set at my 1/4 inch foot. I also have my tape ledge in place to help me sew straight. If you want to learn how to make that tape ledge, let me know in the comments and I'll be happy to teach that to you. All right, I'm always going to start also with my needle down, as you can see. Now on this machine, I have a hover foot. If you don't have a hover foot, keep your needle down and just sew, and you might need to raise your presser foot when it comes time to add your fabric in. Okay, so let's get started, and we're just going to sew straight seams. I'm going to do 2 pieces. Stop and push my fabric right up against my needle and continue to sew. And I might have to adjust my fabric, but I'm just going to sew. And if you notice, I'm not pulling my fabric through. I'm letting my feed dogs feed my fabric. So my hands are just guiding my fabric. And today I'm sewing strip sets. All right, now I'm ready because I have my fabric right there. It's still ready to accept my next set strip with my 2 layers of fabric. So I'm just going to line those up, continue to sew, stop, put that next set right next to my needle and go. And stop and adjust my fabric, keeping my edges even. And now, as I'm coming close to the end of my chain piecing, I'm going to slide in my ender, which will now become my leader. Okay, it just ended. So now it's in place to be the leader for the next set. So now I'm just going to cut my strip sets apart, and I could sew 10 different strip sets at one time this way before I sew my leader at the end. Just keep sewing and chain piecing. It's not that you put a leader at the end of every set of blocks or strip sets or whatever you're sewing. Chain piecing makes everything go faster. The ender and the leaders, they help get your needle ready for the next set of sewing that you're doing. Okay, now let's set that aside. You can also use other block components as your leaders and enders, and I know many quilters who do this, and they take say a 2.5 inch square, which is what I have. I have a yellow with my black and white print that I'm going to be using in a project coming up. Okay, and we're going to just sew and get this started. Now if I have a top loading bobbin, which I do, and I don't want that loop. I need to pull some thread out. Okay, and the top load bobbin, I hope I can get my tape out of the way. The top loading bobbin, I love them, but in the old machines, or if you have a mechanical machine, you might have to do this where you pull the bobbin thread to the top. The whole point of the top loading bobbin is so that you don't have to do that. But I don't want that ugly loop. So if I don't want to start with a scrap piece of fabric, I pull a lengthy piece of my bobbin out, and I pull I don't know, 5 or 6 inches on my needle thread. I'm going to hold my needle thread in my left hand, and with my flywheel over here on the side of my machine, I'm going to rotate it towards me to drop my needle, and it's going to go down and pick up my bobbin thread, and I will pull the bobbin thread to the top. So watch what I do. Okay, on some machines you might have to lower your presser foot to do this. So this is what I'm going to do right now is drop my presser foot. Now I'm going to turn the needle. Now I can raise my presser foot and I can pull that thread to the top. Sometimes you have to help it. I'm going to grab, can you see that loop right there? That's the loop I want. That's kind of a long tail, but that's okay. I'd rather have excessive tail than not enough. So now my machine is ready for me to hold onto those threads as I begin sewing. So let me put all my helpers back in place here. 1/4 inch diagonal seam tape here. And my painter's tape stack. All right, and now I'm going to put my needle down again, holding my thread. I'm going to hold my thread in my left hand this time. Put my needle down, drop my presser foot, drop the needle all the way to begin. And now my leader is in place. I'm going to hold my thread. My tape is coming up, and I'm going to get ready for my blocks. So I have 2 blocks that are ready here, and I'm just going to line them up and be ready to sew just like that. It's that easy with your leaders and your enders. You can see again I would chain piece, just lining up my seams. Hold on a sec, got to get those seams lined up. Always there, make me happy. I usually pin those and just sew it away just like that. And now it's ready for me to drop in my next set of enders. I would have sewn several of those blocks before I would do this. And then I'm just going to get this ready to go. Slide that in. And we're ready for our next set of blocks or whatever it is I'm going to do. All right, I hope that answers your enders and your leaders. It helps save on thread. First of all, you don't get nasty loops of thread. Yes, I have this big tail of thread right here. We'll just trim it off. And it's totally fine. You can throw it on the floor. You can throw it in your garbage can, however you take care of thread in your sewing machine. I will just set it aside, and it's now going to go in the complete pile of my 2.5 inch squares, and I have 128 2.5 inch square sets to make for this project, so that's going to be a good start right there. And I'm ready to keep sewing on my other project as well. All right, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed what you learned today, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.
Be sure to grab your own Smart Start Quilters Toolkit with 6 bonus training videos of what I wish I knew when I started quilting.